Hello and welcome to Beers Till Takeoff. My name is Phil, and today my guest is a 25-year-old who has been to over 100 countries and is on a mission to join the very exclusive club of having visited every country in the world. To date, only 200 people have achieved this feat, which is insane. He has been to many war zones, visited many tribes, and has tried some of the strangest food on earth. You can see this content on his TikTok and Instagram accounts, dnzh.travels. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on, buddy?
Not much. How are you, bro?
Listen, I have a cold. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
No, listen. It's been a couple of days there. We've had 2 Christmas parties in the last 3 days, and I'm hurting a little bit.
I feel you, man. That's rough.
So yeah, we definitely have our radio voices today, because I think you were at a Christmas party recently too, eh?
Christmas party. I've just came back from Asia, so my body's not used to the cold weather here in London. So yeah, that's my excuse. I'm getting a cold, man.
Yeah, as a Canadian, I'm sure that it's very cold in London. Yes.
Yeah. Minus now. It's like -2, which is crazy.
Oh shit! It is.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say like, oh, it's +15. It's very cold today.
No, it's very cold.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Listen, man, your birthday was recently. You just turned 25. Happy birthday!
Thank you. Yeah.
How was the party?
Of a century. It was good. It was my first time celebrating my birthday away from the family, away from my friends. So it was just me and the person I was traveling with. But it was good. It was nice. Yeah, it's always good to change it up every now and then.
Yeah. Because for you, like, because I know you're from Portugal, but you're living in England currently.
Yeah.
For you, like, are your parents, your family, friends, are they still all in Portugal?
No, everyone's in London, because I've been here since I was 7. Yeah. I do have friends in Portugal. I've got my 2 grandmothers, but apart from them, everyone's in London. I've been here since I was 7. So nice. All my studying, I work here. Yeah, my whole life is basically in London, but I'm Portuguese.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's probably why you don't sound like that your accent, you don't have an accent. Like you sound like you're a Londoner.
British, yeah.
Or to me, anyway.
Yeah.
Untrained ear.
To most people.
Yeah, exactly. Which yeah, you're really good, man. But listen, I want to talk a bit about your mission to go to every country in the world.
Yeah.
How did this start?
So I've always had travel in the family. So my sisters have always traveled a lot. My brother-in-laws, my parents have moved around a lot. And yeah, so every year for my birthday, we'd always go away for a weekend somewhere. So I was getting countries slowly. And when I turned 18 and started working, I went with my sister on my first proper trip. We went to Southeast Asia. So we went to Hong Kong and Malaysia. And from there, I kind of got addicted. And it starts off slowly. So my initial goal was 30 countries by the age of 30. And then you get to 30 pretty quickly and you're like, 100 countries. And yeah, it builds up to visiting every country.
Yeah. So approximately how many travel days do you have per year that you're on the road?
It depends. So I've got like a 0-hour contract. So I basically work when I can work and when I can't work. And yeah, now pairing that up with social media, I'm able to travel a lot more, which is good.
Nice. And so I guess so you said that you traveled when you were younger with your parents, got a few countries that way, and then you got the bug. When did the bug kick in? Like, how old were you when you're like, fuck, I'm doing this, every country in the world?
So every country in the world. Maybe 21, I would say. When I started meeting people that were in that community, and so through Instagram and Facebook groups, I started meeting people that were doing that, and I realized that it is possible. And yeah, so around 21, I would say. So it's been 3 or 4 years. Yeah, 21, 22, I would say.
Right on. And in that span of time, approximately how many countries were you able to complete?
Most of them have been in the last 3 years. So I just remember in COVID, although I still managed to travel a lot during COVID. But the majority of them were in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I guess during COVID, what were did you experience any, did you travel straight through COVID?
Yeah. So I tried to go. So I did a lot of Africa during COVID because a lot of Europe was closed down and Asia was all closed down. And once you're in Africa, you can kind of get around pretty easily through land borders and stuff. So I spent a lot of time there during COVID.
Yeah,
It was a good place. Yeah.
it seems to have. I've heard a few people going to Central America, like Mexico. I think was a hotbed for COVID because it was one of the open countries, and Africa as well it seemed to have been a place where a lot more countries were open to tourism. Whereas, like you had like the Japans of the world, where they're just recently reopening from COVID, right? So
That's correct. Yeah.
yeah. An interesting thing that you're doing though is that you're getting a tattoo in every country that you're going to. So I'm just saying this here. I looked it up, and there's currently no record for a person getting a tattoo in every country in the world. So you may want to, try this journey as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I take too seriously. It was an idea that came to me recently on my last trip. And I've had some tattoos in other countries beforehand, but I never thought about it as actually going for a world record, but you've given me the idea now.
Dude,
So,
you might as well if you're gonna be trying to do all the countries, right? Might as well get a bit of ink on the way.
yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back to a lot of countries, but I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
So, it's something to look into.
Are there ever, like, I know that some of them in your videos you're explaining that some of them you contact them through Instagram, get to talk a bit about the design, whereas some you just kind of walk in and just get it on the whim. Any bad experiences?
No, I message a few shops beforehand, and like most people are down because it's usually a small tattoo and it's something they can do quickly. And if it does go well, it's good to be a part of the journey. But when I was in Bali now recently, that was the first time I actually went to a shop and I asked them. I was like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this?" And it worked out well. I got a really small tattoo, although I don't remember him changing the needles. I feel like that's why I got it, but it is what it is.
Oh, he changed it before you went there, right? Like,
Yeah.
He looked like a responsible guy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. My arm is still fine, so I'm sure it's all good.
Hepatitis C?
Not that more.
I'm kidding. But yeah, so listen, on in your videos as well, like you're doing a lot of crazy stuff. You're visiting a lot of crazy places. But one of the things that we're going to talk about this a bit later, but I see the stuff that you eat, and man, that's the first few videos that I saw that I was like, oh man, I got to follow this guy. This guy's awesome. Yeah. Is you're eating snake, worms, you're eating all this crazy stuff.
I'll try it once. I would never say no to something. I'll try it once.
Yeah, obviously based on the videos, there's a lot of shit that I'd definitely say no to. But do you often get sick being that adventurous when you're eating out?
Not really. I think I've been sick twice, and never to the point where I've gone to hospital. So the worst I've had was a few days in bed. But yeah, I feel like I've built up my tolerance, and my immune system is pretty good at this point, so I can try most things carefree.
Yeah, you've definitely pushed your body to the limit.
Yeah.
Say the least. But no, listen. Interestingly enough, now you're now a travel leader for a Mauritania trip. So why did you pick to go to do Mauritania?
So let me just explain to that. So I work for a Portuguese company who do tours around the world, and I'm a tour leader, like you said, and pretty much all of the destinations are like the common places like Thailand and just the usual places. And that's not really my style. I like the more off the beaten path sort of countries. And Mauritania's a beautiful place. It's just below Morocco, and it has a lot of potential for tourism. So I thought that's a great place to start off with.
Nice. Because I mean, like you said, like most people would probably be like Thailand. Let's do the generic countries, whereas Mauritania, can't say I know many people that have been there.
Yeah, and people haven't even heard of it, to be fair. And yeah, I think that's a good reason why I should start with these sort of places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, Daniel, let's bring you into the Q&A portion. Let's get to know you a little bit better. Q&A. All right, first question. Hot or cold?
Hot. So I'm guessing it's rapid fire questions, yeah?
Yeah, man. Hey, okay. Expand where you feel that you need to expand.
Okay.
Being
Hot.
from Portugal, I understand. Hot.
Yeah, definitely. But even
Beach or
in
mountains?
everything, food, everything, I prefer hot.
Absolutely. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
I think that was another given.
I'm not a big hiker. I don't like hiking, and travelers usually love it, but for me, it's not my thing.
Have you, listen, I got to plug this one, but have you been to Peru?
I haven't actually been to South America, which is people find really strange that I've been to certain places, but not to South America.
Listen, I wasn't much of a hiker before I went to Peru, and just seeing the different treks you can do and the different places you can go to
Yeah.
definitely like I'm more of still a beach more than mountains guy,
Hmm.
but definitely Peru piqued my interest a lot more in mountains during that trip, just because I guess I didn't really know what to expect, and it was just blew my expectations away.
I mean, I've done my fair share of hikes. So I've done a few volcanoes, but I still find it very tiring. And I'm still going to
You're
do them if it's like a special place. Like I do want to do one of the big five mountains, but
Yeah,
it's not something that I plan my trips around.
I understand. It's like you're more likely to be drinking a beer on the beach than you are
Yeah,
climbing a mountain.
for sure.
So definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Bus or train?
Train.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Top or bottom bunk?
Top.
Yes.
I
I
feel like
love I love
you get privacy up there.
you do. It's just that it's a bit more adventurous, right? You never know what's going down on the bottom bunk. Getting down in the middle of the night's a bit more of a holy shit.
Yeah. I just feel like when I'm at the bottom, like everyone walks around me, and yeah, when you're on top, you have a little bit more privacy. That's usually why I just I go with that.
What is your favorite sports team?
So in England, I'm an Arsenal fan, but my team is Sporting Lisbon. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yep. Yeah, I've never seen a Sporting Lisbon game, but I've seen a game in Porto.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're a sports fan yourself, well, a football
I
fan.
try I try to be. I mean, I've got my Tom Brady up here, and just below me here, I have a Muhammad Ali uh, frame as well. So yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
big sports guy.
good. But yeah, Sporting Lisbon all the way.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
It would be either flying or speak every language. I think that's an interesting one.
Hell yeah, that's a really good one. I haven't had that one before. I feel like the theme of the show, having travelers on, a lot of people say, being able to either like kind of be like that they could just like hyperloop to different places or just fly so that they can go where they want. But yeah, that's a really good one. Speak every language. How many languages do you currently speak?
English and Portuguese, and with that, I can kind of get by with Spanish.
Mm,
So
yeah.
those three.
I guess just quick question based on Portuguese, but you said you haven't gone to South America yet, but are you planning to go? Well, obviously you're planning to go, but is
Yeah,
Brazil a focus for you?
yeah. I mean, all the countries in South America I want to go to. I was actually meant to go in 2020, the second half, but that was obviously cancelled. But
Mm,
I did have plans for that.
nice. If you could have a beer with one person from history, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Probably, I'll go for a dead and alive. For someone who's passed away, I'd go for Bourdain. I think he'd be very
Yeah.
interesting to speak to. And alive, uh, probably Cristiano Ronaldo.
Homer
Yeah,
pick.
yeah,
Should we talk about this now? Are you recovered from the Portuguese loss?
yeah. I get over it pretty quickly. It is what it
It's
is.
it sucks. Ronaldo's never he hasn't won a World Cup, right?
No, that's the last thing he wants before he retires.
Fuck. So do you think he comes back for the next one, or is he done?
No, I think he'll surprise us and he'll come back. I don't think he'll play every game like he did this. I mean, like he has been recently.
Yeah.
Like, even if he just shows up for a few minutes per game, I think he will be in the next one.
Yeah, it's you're seeing a trend with athletes that I think that they're changing a lot of their diet, their training regime, and it's allowing them to
Last
play
longer.
longer, right? Like if you look at Tom Brady, he's like 46. 45 or whatever, he's probably going to play till he's 50.
Yeah. And Ronaldo is big into his records, so if he can be the oldest upfield player, I'm sure he'll try and do that.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, like as you age, you obviously lose certain edge, or you know what I mean, speed and stuff like that. But maybe he'd be that tactical player.
Yeah.
Come in for the penalties or something, you know.
Yeah. Get a few goals in.
Yeah, of course. What's something you never travel without?
My passport. Does that count?
Sure.
Yeah.
What is your favorite world attraction?
My favorite world attraction.
Yeah, so world attraction could be anything that people are attracted to. So, or people that are go to. So it could be like one of the wonders of the world.
Yeah.
Could be natural beauty. It could be the Eiffel Tower.
I'm gonna go for one that you've probably never heard of, but the capital city of Eritrea, Asmara. It's a very beautiful and unique place. Yeah.
Wow. What's so special about that capital?
So it used to be colonized by the Italians. So the whole capital city is like built in like this old 60s Art Deco style, and it feels like you've gone back in time. It was like the first place I felt in awe. It just like no one has mobile phones. Everyone's on bicycles. The buildings are super cool. It feels like you've gone back in time.
Back in time in like the old days of Italy. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it does look like it. It was called Little Rome.
No, so is the food culture the same as well?
They do. I had the best lasagna I've ever had in Eritrea.
Way.
The best coffee was there. But they also have their local foods. That's quite similar to Ethiopian food.
Man, that's a really good one. That I have to say that's probably one of the best answers I've had to that question.
Yeah, I could have gone with the Eiffel Tower or the Great Wall of China. But I'm sure you've gotten that before.
Yeah, definitely had a couple, but no, that's a really good answer.
Thank you.
Which country has the best cuisine, and why is it Eritrea?
No, I wouldn't say they've got the best cuisine. For cuisine, I would go for somewhere like Afghanistan. They got really good food. So like the kebab is really good. It's all natural. Afghanistan, I mean, Italy does have good cuisine, but I'd go for Afghanistan and like Iran. It's quite similar. It's like the Persian cuisine. Yeah,
I mean, there's a couple that always come through the Afghanistan ones. It seems like there's a lot more YouTubers and people, social media people that are doing content on social media that are going through Afghanistan. I've actually had that about Afghanistan on another podcast, that it was one of their favorite cuisines was there too.
Really good.
Yeah, and I mean, you always have the staples, the Mexicos, the Italy, right? But no, that's a really good one. What is your biggest travel pet peeve?
Traveling with someone who's unorganized.
Yeah. Does that mean in terms of how they've packed or just how they travel?
No, in terms of they've packed, that's just messiness. Just, I don't know, like not sorting out stuff that need to be sorted out, like visas and...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it hinders your travel.
Yeah, so if I'm traveling with someone and they can't do certain things because they haven't done it correctly, I'd feel bad. So I'd have to basically... how do I explain it? Yeah, just not being organized. I feel like, especially if you're going to many countries at once, you need to kind of be organized.
Yeah, that's not in the Eurozone or like in the Schengen countries or something like that. Like if you're going through parts of Asia or sure parts of Africa too, you require a lot of different visas.
Yeah,
and you need that certain level of organization to optimize or your time on the trip, right?
Yeah, and people that are rude to locals, that bothers me.
Yeah, that's pretty dusty. Don't be that person, folks.
No.
What's the most underrated country?
Underrated. Ooh.
You've named a couple.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you different answers each time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Algeria.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Algeria is amazing. It receives almost no tourism, but it's got amazing food, amazing people, and it has everything. It has mountains of snow. It's got desert. It's got beaches on the coast. It's got everything.
Yeah, really good answer again. But in terms of food, how would it differ from Morocco? Let's say because Morocco is maybe food culture that more people are familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of the similar dishes like the tagine and stuff,
Tagine,
but
yeah.
then the food changes everywhere you go. So in the south, because Algeria is very big, it's the biggest country in Africa. If you go down in the south, in the desert, it's got more of the Tuareg sort of dishes. In the north, it's got more European type of food. It's all very different. So Morocco is quite similar, north to south. Algeria, it does change from like region to region.
Interesting. Where's somewhere you'd never go back?
I don't think there is somewhere. I do want to go back to all the places I've been to.
Okay.
Can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Listen, there's some places where people, they have bad experiences or maybe a country doesn't have that much offerings, or, once you've kind of done them all, you're like, well, it is what it is. I'm kind of done with that country. But no, if you'd love to go back everywhere, that's good. That's
I mean,
your
there's some
experience,
places
right?
I want to go back to more than others, but I wouldn't say there's a country that I wouldn't go back to, period.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Where did you experience the least friendly locals?
Least friendly, I would say. So I don't know. I don't think they intentionally not friendly, but Eastern European. I think it's just the culture.
Yeah.
They come across as a little bit not rude, but like aggressive,
Closed off,
cold. Yeah. I don't think they mean it, but it's just the way they come across, and then you get that impression of them.
It's like there's different stages of friendliness, I think. So, like you said, in Eastern Europe, people there are closed off, a bit rude maybe, but they're more likely to invite you into their homes for you to stay. Whereas if you look at Canadians, we're more, surface friendly, but less likely to invite you into our homes. Not to say that we don't invite people into our homes, but just less likely than I'd say Eastern Europeans.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it. I do like that. It's true.
Yeah. Where were you the most scared?
So my tolerance, my fear tolerance is quite high.
I'd say, yeah.
So there's not many places where I've actually been scared. I kind of know that. So if I'm going to a dangerous place, I know the situation and I know things can go wrong. So it is what it is. So I haven't actually been somewhere I've been frightened. So I'm not gonna say I've been scared, but like places like Afghanistan, I was there by myself. I didn't have a tour guide, nothing. So I know things could go wrong.
Yeah.
And this was before the Taliban, so it was actually more dangerous before the Taliban were in charge than it is now. People don't know that.
Fuck. So yeah, you get that feeling right in your stomach when you're landing. You see the country for the first time, and you're just like your butthole fucking puckers up. You're like, oh shit, what did I get myself into?
No, when I landed in Kabul and I was waiting for my local friend to meet me, I was nervous.
Yeah, but it's sometimes it's just what you hear about a country too, right? Because it's like what we've heard of Afghanistan. Obviously, it's been in recent war and poverty, and because of the war and stuff like that, right? Yeah. So it's like sometimes we only have that picture in our minds of what we've seen on the news.
And that's why I like to travel, is to go and get my own idea of a country instead of just listening to the news.
Yeah. What is your favorite cocktail?
I like an espresso martini.
Hell yeah.
I like a frozen daiquiri. Can't go wrong with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'd go for those two.
Good choices. So Daniel, I'm gonna change things up a little bit here, because there's a question here that has been retired. I'm deciding it right now, is retired, is where did you find your cheapest pint? Because I know you've been to Vietnam's beer street. So yeah. I'm going to ask you a different question. Where did you find your most expensive pint?
You know what, just to say, I'm not a big beer drinker. So when I travel, I don't drink much. And if I do drink it, it's going to be like a cocktail. Right. Or if it's all they have and the people with me are drinking, I'll drink a beer. But probably Scandinavia is quite expensive. But even where I'm from in London, I mean, there's cheap places, expensive places, but you can pay $15 for a pint in some places.
Yeah, that adds up after a while.
I mean, I don't know how expensive it is in Canada, but it's pretty expensive.
So I guess in terms of euros, probably be about 7 to 10.
Is that like an average?
Yeah, I'd say if for like a craft beer, if you're looking for more of a domestic, you may get away with like a dive bar paying around 5 to 7.
But yeah, you can't beat the 20 cents beers in Vietnam.
No, man, for me, that's honestly, it's like my mecca.
Yeah.
Where in the world is your favorite bar and why?
My favorite bar. There's a few cool ones in Bangkok where you have to like go through like alleyways and they've got like secret doors to go into. But my favorite bar.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you about one of mine here. Just while you're thinking about it. There's one that I went to in Berlin, and it was part of this alternative pub crawl. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it is definitely one of the most interesting I've ever been to in the world. So we take the S-Bahn to this random region in Berlin. We follow this tour guide that's organizing the tour. Go into this unmarked building. Go down some stairs where there's not even like drywall. It's just drywall like on the walls. Get to this place and there's just a ping pong table and a bunch of people around the ping pong table, and it's a ping pong bar. So what it is everybody like goes in a circle, and when the ball comes to you, you play your turn.
Yeah.
If you miss, you're out. If you hit it, you keep going, and then the final two people like play a game of ping pong and everybody cheers and watches.
That's interesting.
It was just like
concept.
I have never even heard of this in my life. It's fucking weird, but it was so cool.
Okay, I've thought about one in Ukraine, in Kiev. I don't know if it's like a one of a kind, but we went to this bar where it's similar to how you described it. You're going to go downstairs, looks quite dingy, and they're famous for these shots where they basically put like a helmet on you. They make you do the shot, and then they hit your head with a fire extinguisher and spin you around. Yeah, I've actually got a video of my friend doing it.
Did he?
It's like a really dark little bar underground, and yeah, it doesn't smell very good, but it was fun.
Come for the shot, you get a free concussion.
Yeah, it's good for it. It does for a good video.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds awesome though. But all right, let's get into top 5.
Top 5.
All right, guys. So in this top 5 here, Daniel's going to give us the top 5 strangest foods that he's eaten. So start us off at number 5.
I'm going to do no particular order, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that no particular order works.
Okay, so a lot of these are quite recent because I've just came back from Asia. And I think I can actually do the whole top 5 from the last month and a half.
It's still in your stomach almost.
Yeah, fresh. Okay, so this is one that I haven't actually posted on social media. I think I put it on my close friends on Instagram, but a lot of people get offended by this, but I had dog meat in Laos.
Oh shit, was it golden retriever?
You know what? We couldn't understand him too well, and I showed him. I just googled dog, and obviously the generic golden retriever comes up, and I showed it to him. He's like, "Yeah, dog."
Oh, dude, how was it?
No, it wasn't a golden retriever, but it was pretty good. It was seasoned really well. It was like barbecued. We just met these guys sitting around on the floor in the middle of like nowhere. It's like in the bush, and they had a dog with them sitting next to them, which is really weird.
Oh.
But yeah, so no. Dog. I mean, I would say that's number 1, like strangest. To be fair,
what was it like?
Like a very thin grilled beef, because it was seasoned really well, so you kind of just taste the seasoning, like the peppers and all the spices.
Fuck. And from the questions I just asked you here, the Q&A, like you picked dogs, you're a dog person too, so that must have been tough for you, no?
Yeah, like I said, I try it once. I'm not going to go and yeah, find and kill my own dog, but if it's already cooked, I'll give it a try.
Fair enough.
Number 2, you've probably seen the video, but I would say sago worms from Borneo. So they're basically coconut worms, and so they're quite common. Like people still eat them, and so it's an indigenous food that they have in Borneo, and yeah, they quite big and they're alive. And when you bite into them, they just explode in your mouth. It's a fun experience.
Yeah, like I remember, like in the video, you put it down and then like the thing's like moving. I'm like, well, what if you're like chatting with a friend and it like escapes?
I mean, they come in a bowl, so I don't think they can crawl out of it. But yeah, that'll be funny.
Fuck. So what does it taste like?
when I had it, we put lime on top too. So you basically only really taste that, but
Okay.
you feel the sensation of it exploding, and it's just like I don't know, like a little gooey. But you just taste the lime.
Okay. And man, in that video, you're a fucking champion because like the guy puts it down and you don't even hesitate. You're just like, "Tah!" Just take it. Like
That's
I've
one
done
of the
this.
foods I was a little bit nervous of trying when they brought it over and I was holding it for the first time. It was moving in my hands. That was it was strange.
Yeah.
Number three. Number three can be like a group, so it can be like bugs in Asia.
Mm.
So I had scorpion in Thailand, which is quite common, but in Cambodia I had tarantula, which is it's actually like the locals eat it. It's very common.
Shit.
So there's like a town in Cambodia where there's like a lot of tarantulas, and then from there they get sold all over the country. So it's a very common local food, and that was interesting. It was very hairy, and
Ah.
they spray some sort of like liquid seasoning on it, which makes it edible. But that and other bugs, I tried all the bugs. I tried scorpion, grasshopper. I tried them all when I was there.
All right. So least favorite and most favorite bugs.
Out of the bugs, they're all quite similar because the way they cooked, they basically like fried,
Yeah.
so they don't really taste like much apart from the seasoning that they put on it, the liquid seasoning. So they're all pretty similar. Just the
So it's
tarantula
just
was
it's like a proteiny thing.
yeah, like that's something I would happily. I mean, most things I would do again. I wouldn't do the dog again for ethical reasons, but most food I haven't had anything quite where like I don't want to do again. It's all been fine.
Nice.
This came from the same meal, but I'm going to put it as two separate ones. So it would be snake.
Oh shit.
So there was this little lady selling cobra in Jakarta, Indonesia, and so you'd have the snake sautéed, so like on a stick, grilled, which is nice. So that would be one of the foods. But the other one, I don't know if you saw it, but it got taken down from my TikTok. But I had a shot of snake blood.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, it got taken down for apparently it was too gruesome. So she puts so she cuts the head off, puts the blood into a cup with a little bit of rice wine. She gets the bile from the snake and puts that in it, and the spinal cord, and cuts that up, and you drink that raw.
Oh.
So that one wasn't the nicest. It was
Does
I'll
it
send you
taste
the
like
video.
you know what I mean? Like if you cut yourself or something, like you put your like oh my god, does it taste kind of like that? Like
No,
the
it didn't taste
irony?
like it didn't have the irony taste. I didn't realize she had put like old like fermented rice wine, so it was very like you could taste the
Shot.
alcohol. But I thought that was like the acid from the bile, but it wasn't. It was from the rice wine. But I didn't know at the time, so I thought it was really weird the taste.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be the two. So it'd be the snake shot and the snake meat. And I also tried monitor lizard from the same lady. She had monitor lizard there, so I tried sauteed both.
How was that?
So snake was more. So monitor lizard was like is very similar to crocodile. So it
Okay.
tastes like chewy chicken,
Mm.
and snake was like a chewy pork. It was like pork but chewier.
There's a couple more there's one more that I saw on your TikTok. One that maybe people aren't familiar with, but it's the durian fruit.
Yeah,
Like,
durian.
I know that there's like signs in like Thailand of people saying like
Yeah.
don't bring durian here. Like that's how strong the smell is.
Yeah, it's the world's smelliest fruit. So many hotels and like public transport and many public buildings, you can't have open durian there. It's illegal.
What does it smell like?
There's different types, but like the generic smell is like old socks. But then you can kind of start to appreciate it over time. Like it doesn't smell bad anymore.
Does it smell like that when you're eating it?
Yeah, the
And the
smell
taste
stays
is like
there.
that as well?
No, it tastes completely different. So the taste, I had one called Musang King, which is meant to be the best quality of durian, and that was kind of tastes like custard,
Okay.
and it's similar color, but like a solid custard. And that was my second time having it. I had it a few years ago, and I hated it, and I gave it another try, and it was I'll do it again.
That's pretty gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I'll share one that I've done that you might not have heard of. So I grew up in the north of Canada, and when I was like in grade 1 or grade 2, I remember we did like a show and tell almost, and most people just like show randoms, you know what I mean, like kids stuff, like I don't know, their favorite toy and shit like that. But like,
Yeah.
one of the kids that we had brought in raw seal for us to try.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
How's that?
It was so seals are very fat, right? They have a fat layer, so it tastes very like, I remember it because I remember my parents telling me don't eat raw meat, right? Like, so, and when we were eating it in class, I was like, oh my god, like am I gonna get sick? But it was like a very fatty, fishy meat.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't had that.
Yeah,
I'll be on my list for when I go there.
Yeah, man. If there's not a lot of people who do it, but if you want to do crazy shit in Canada, I'd highly recommend doing Nunavut or Northwest Territories. Nunavut being the crazier one, because it's a complete tundra. There's all sorts of even just the West has really cool animals too. So, but anyways, yeah, it's that was my crazy food situation.
I like that. You reminded me of one. If we got time.
Yeah, of course, man. Got all day for you, buddy.
This was in Ethiopia. This is my first time like properly traveling in Africa, and I just arrived in Addis Ababa, which is the capital. And my host met up with me, and I wanted breakfast, and so all I wanted was like a coffee, a croissant, or something breakfasty. And he's like, "Hey, let's go have raw meat, because that's a thing there." So in Ethiopia they eat raw beef, and I know you get raw beef in most of the world, but in Ethiopia it's literally a restaurant next to a butcher shop. You see them chopping up the raw beef, and they just put it on your table, and you just have chunks of raw beef dipped in like chili powder, and yeah, that was my breakfast. That was a strange one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that one. Like, just based on, you know what I mean? Just because it's not cooked, like it could be, don't know how long it's been out there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you see some of the places that are like the butcher shops around the world sometimes, and you're like, stuff's just kind of hanging out, you know? And if it doesn't get cooked, like, fuck.
I'm usually pretty good at judging food, and that one looked okay, and I like my rare, so it couldn't be that bad for me.
So Daniel, you seem like you're a pretty good judge of food. So in future trips, can I just send you a picture of what I'm about to eat, and you tell me if it's good or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good, buddy. All right, let's get to the story.
Story time.
Okay. Have you ever heard of couch surfing?
Of course.
So I couch surf everywhere I go. That's how I travel. I love it. And I was with a friend. We were couch surfing in Chisinau in Moldova, which is the least visited place in Europe. So no one ever goes there. And we were couch surfing with this lady. She had a baby, just her. And she lived in like this old Soviet apartment blocks in the middle of nowhere, like far away from the city centre. And it was fine. And we went out. We had a few drinks out. You know how it is. Like, my friend usually is the one who wants to go out and likes to get drunk, and I feel bad, so I kind of go along with it. And yeah, we had a few drinks, and we came back, and we couldn't remember which floor it was, the house, because they all look the same. Like, the house, we figured out which house it was. We didn't know which floor, because you don't actually, because when we got there, we didn't think to like remember that. But it's important, especially when you're getting home at 3 a.m. and it's not your house. So we for the life of us, we couldn't remember which floor it was, and he was pretty confident it was the top floor, and I was like, no, I don't think it is, because I would remember that if it was a top floor, you'd remember that. And he was like, no, it is. So okay, you go and knock. I kind of stayed back, and he was knocking really loud. I was like, don't knock too loud, just knock.
You're not the police here.
Yeah. This big Russian dude comes out with a big machete and like chased us down a few flights of stairs. I can imagine why he was worried. It was 3 a.m. and someone's banging on your door. So he comes out shouting with a big machete, and I was sorry. So we ran down, and yeah, it was a floor below that one. So we were off by 1 floor.
Holy shit!
So yeah. So long story short, yeah. Remember
Fuck,
what you're saying.
So and how much longer did you stay there? Bump into the guy after, like, oh hey.
No, we didn't bump into him, luckily. But I think we were there another night or 2 after that. Not very long.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That was fun. So every time
that's a quick way to sober up, eh?
Yeah, we're perfectly fine after that. So yeah, usually when people ask me stories, that's kind of one that comes to mind. Because I've done a lot of cool things, but like I've never been robbed. I've never had anything really bad happen to me. So I don't really have any like getting robbed stories, for example. I know a lot of travelers usually do have that.
Statistically speaking, it's going to come.
Hopefully not.
It took me 11 years to get robbed.
I mean, yeah. Luckily, I've never had that. I've been to a lot of Africa. I've been to a lot of bad places. My friends always say it's because I'm quite tall. I've got tattoos, and people don't really want to mess with me. So I don't know if that's it, but I've been lucky.
The guy who robbed me actually looked a little bit like you, dude. No,
yeah. What did he take?
My phone. Yeah,
that's never a good thing to lose.
Day 2 in Peru before going to the Amazon. So it was.
Was that at the start of your trip, or
start of the trip?
Okay, so you didn't lose all your photos then?
No, but didn't have a phone while I was in the Amazon. Had to buy a GoPro afterwards, but also my bag didn't show up the day before with all my stuff, so it was felt a little naked at that point.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah,
got some fun ones from West Africa. It's like in Mali, I got a few good. So have you heard of Mali?
Yeah.
West Africa, yeah. So this was during COVID. So a lot of Africa you could go into, but there's also a lot of restrictions that you kind of had to like think of ways around them. So we were in Ivory Coast, in the north of Ivory Coast, which is very remote. No one ever really goes that far up. And we wanted to go into Burkina Faso. We had the visa, but the land borders were closed. The Ivorian land borders, so the country we were in, they were closed. They weren't letting us out. So the next day we went up to the Mali border, and we thought, what can go wrong for us? We paid a motorbike driver to take us through the bush around the immigration into Mali. So we basically missed out on the border of Ivory Coast, so they were closed. So we went around them, went straight to the checkpoint where you enter Mali, and had to pay a bribe because obviously they know the border was closed. But we paid them a bribe, $3 or $4, and they stamped us in. And so that part of Mali is also very remote, where it's about 7 or 8 hours from the capital. So after we went through like passport control and stuff, and it's not how you think. It's not like it's basically a hut with a guy with a machine gun just stamping passports. It's nothing fancy. So that was one thing. We basically went through 3 hours through like the jungle to get to the other side, and at one point I thought we were going to get kidnapped because the bike kept stopping, and that was very sketchy. And then you don't know about animals, what's going to be there. But so we illegally crossed that border. And then we get to the little town so obviously there's always a little town at the border. We asked about the bus going to the capital, and they said, well, nothing leaves till the morning. There's terrorists, bandits, and bad guys on the roads. So we had to, we spent the night. Yeah, we spent the night at this little town. It had like 4 or 5 houses. And yeah, there was like 10 buses, and all the cars were waiting there because no one drives at night in Mali because it's dangerous. And everyone just like kind of sleeps on the street, having tea. And in the morning, they kind of do a convoy and all leave together.
What?
Yeah, because it's just too dangerous to leave at night. They would get stopped and robbed and killed.
Jesus Christ, that's insane, man. In Canada, we don't drive at night because of the moose.
Because of the moose, yeah. That's cool. But yeah, it's just too dangerous because you never know. Like, because there's nothing in between the cities. There's just like long open stretches of darkness, and they can just make a little checkpoint with machine guns, and it can go quite bad.
Yeah. So I guess after you got in, without, or I guess illegally, how were you able to then get out?
No, so the borders that were closed were Ivory Coast. So we couldn't leave
Oh,
Ivory Coast. We could enter Mali, but the Ivory Coast borders were closed.
right.
So they wouldn't let us leave. So we basically avoided them and got stamped into Mali, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we already had a Mali visa. We just needed to get through the border.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so Africa, a few dollars goes a long way in Africa. I know I shouldn't be promoting bribery, but it's actually the first time and only time I've ever had to do that.
When in Rome.
Yeah. So
That's
that was a fun
countries.
time. And it's strange, like a lot of people when they go traveling, they like love, I don't know, like water sports, and they get adrenaline from like seeing the Taj Mahal. But I got adrenaline being on the back of a motorbike, going through the bush illegally in Mali into one of the most dangerous places at night, and I like those sort of things. It's really weird, but yeah,
That's why you're a good fit for this podcast.
yeah, that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. Do you want to leave us with maybe describing Mecca?
Yeah, Mecca's a very special place. Um, Technically, non-Muslims aren't allowed to be there. But I did speak to a lot of Muslims when I was there. They knew I was a Muslim, and I had a host in Saudi. He knew I was going, and a lot of them just turned around to me and said, "As long as you're respectful and you dress correctly, just go. It's a beautiful place. It's a Saudi law. It's not a Muslim law or not a Muslim rule. So a lot of people don't mind. But yeah, it's an amazing place. It's huge. It's beautiful, and I kind of got emotional. So we were leaving, and it was the call for prayer, the one around 6 o'clock, the evening one, and I got emotional just how everyone stops what they're doing and just gets on the floor, like no matter where you are. So we were walking back to the bus, and there's a rule that you don't have to pray if you're traveling. So if you have to go somewhere, you don't have to pray. But everyone around us, like on the streets, on the pavement, in the shops, in the mosques, everyone would stop and just face Mecca, and like the whole city was crazy. It's like being in Times Square and just everyone, like the call for prayer goes off and everyone just gets on their knees and starts doing the prayer, and it felt special.
And I mean, it's like that must have been like a crazy moment for you, just seeing kind of the unity of this,
Yeah.
like everybody around this religion, right? It's like a coordinated, not even a coordinated, it's a coordinated thing that people are just all doing together everywhere they are in this country, right?
No matter where you
In this
are,
region.
if you're rich or poor, everyone does it. Yeah, I find it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but I mean, for you to go against Saudi law, like not against Muslim law, but like still, like that's definitely a country. I don't know if I would have done that. Like
To my
that's pretty gnarly of
defense,
you.
you can tell I'm not Muslim. I got tattoos. I've got I have a Muslim name, and I went to the bus station. I got a bus. No one stopped me. No one questioned me. I got to Mecca. No one questioned me. No one said anything. So, yeah,
That's
I don't.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Morocco, there was a guy that was in our tour group because we did like the desert and all that, whatever. And the day before, he had gone into one of the mosques, and the guy's like you can only come in if you're Arabic. He's like, oh yeah, I'm Arabic. And then he's like goes in, and then one of the guys asked the other guy where are you from? He's like, oh, Korea. And then he like walks around the mosque, whatever, and then like one of the guys talks to the other guy. He's like, there's no Muslims in Korea. And then like, pulls him out of the mosque.
He should have said Indonesian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, it's crazy. Oh, but I'd love to go and to see what it's like. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I
yeah,
feel
it's
like it was a
very,
good time. They had just opened up to tourism. This is when they just started the e-visa. I feel like the more tourists they get, they're going to start being a little bit stricter with Mecca. Either that, or you never know. They might make it. You might be able to get a tourist bus and go visit it. you don't know what way they're going to go with that. But yeah, it's a really nice place, really interesting.
Yeah, man, really interesting stuff. But listen, Daniel, I just want to thank you for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
No.
I knew based on your videos this was going to be really good, and you had some really interesting travel destinations. I guess one last question for you: what's next? Where's the next place?
Next is going to be Central Africa, and that's going to be in February. So I'm doing a whole bunch of countries there, a lot of really remote places, a lot of tribes. I can't wait for that.
Nice. I just forgot that we forgot to talk about Mauritania.
Yeah.
So I guess just a reminder that Daniel he's the travel leader for a trip to Mauritania, and one day will learn how to say this place's name.
Mauritania.
Am I saying it right?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Mauritania.
People pronounce things differently. I say Mauritania.
Just go with that, Mauritania. Yeah. What if people are interested in doing this trip that you're leading? What is it like? Like what is included?
So the price includes everything apart from the flights. So it includes your accommodation, your food, your guide, your drivers, everything in the country. So you just worry about getting there, and your visa. Obviously, you do that at the airport. And yeah, so it's an amazing place. It's got almost no tourists, and it's like Morocco. It's got a lot of desert and a lot of the similar cultures as Morocco, but I think it's better. I really enjoy Mauritania, and it's home to the world's most dangerous train ride. I know some influencers like to call it that.
Right, the
iron ore train.
The coal.
Yeah.
You did that, right?
I've done it twice now, and I'm gonna go back.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna go back in March for the third time. That's the main reason people want to go to Mauritania, is to do that. It's like a big bucket list thing in the extreme travel world.
Why is it so dangerous?
I mean, you're on top of a train. It's going at 40 kilometers per hour, and there's no railings or anything. But I don't think it's too dangerous. I feel like unless you're someone who sleeps and rolls a lot, then it could be dangerous. But it's just the idea of being on top of a moving train through the desert. Like, if you fall off, who's going to see you?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Fuck. Yeah, the potential of danger is high.
Yeah, the potential of danger is high, but I know this has been a thing for many years now in the extreme travel world. No one's ever had an issue with it, or even with the locals. I don't know. Like, locals, that's how they get around, because it's free. And you can cross the whole country overnight. And if you were to do that by road, it would take you 2 or 3 days, and it'd be quite expensive. So all the locals use that as transport.
Okay, and this trip on train is done in your Mauritania trip?
Yeah, this is something that we do in the trip.
Sweet. Well, listen. So check it out. It's on your link tree in your bio. Can you remind people where they can find you?
On Instagram or TikTok now, and it's the same which is just dnzh.travels.
Awesome. Anyways, thanks a lot for coming on, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, I had a really good time, and I hope you come back later on your journey. We can get an update on where you're at.
Yeah, maybe when I finish every country, I'll come back and talk about that.
Absolutely, dude.
It's been good, man. I've enjoyed it.
All right. Take care.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to Two Beers Till Takeoff. Do you want free additional content or just to stay connected with the show? Then give us a follow on our social media platform. That means TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Are you in need of podcast production services, video editing, or anything in between? Then look no further than Strut Sound Productions, the official producer of the Two Beers Till Takeoff podcast. Music produced by Alex Gagné. Check out his work in our show notes. Voiceover done by Viking Leo K. See you next week on Two Beers Till Takeoff.